Hey guys, Dave Gass. I was just in the house doing a few things and being thankful for the success me and my wife have had personally and financially. And I was thinking, before I became disabled, I was thinking about my auto body career. That I grew up in the poorest family I knew. My father was a musician. Money never made it back to the house. But I was very self-motivated. I had my first job at 14 years old. I used to ride a BMX bike across the city. That's all hills. In any weather. And go bag Portuguese sweetbread. And crack towers of eggs. Hundreds and hundreds of eggs every day. I think it was 6 days a week. And then clean all the pans for $30 a week. And you had to chase the guy for the 30 bucks. Anyways, so, I had always in my head I was not going to live like my parents. But when I met my wife, I knew she was going to be successful. There was no doubt in my mind. And I'm thinking, all right, for me to marry her, how am I going to keep up with this? And I got into auto body and became very successful as a painter. I was never really a body man for a little bit at the beginning, but I became a painter. When you're super fussy, every body shop owner, first thing they say is, I'm going to stick you in the paint shop. You're fussy. And I'm glad it worked out that way. I really enjoyed it. But where I learned so much, work ethic wise, business wise, and financial information, was from the toughest job I ever could have had in my life. I worked at this body shop for 21 years, and people used to say to me, how do you work there? Oh my God, I hear those people are so tough. And believe me, every day was Monday morning. Friday afternoon was Monday morning. The foreman would even say that. These people, but they pushed you hard, but they pushed themselves even harder. It was mostly this guy and his brother. Now the son is very involved. The owner's son. But these people, if you just listen to them, and which I did all the time, it was a weird relationship. I fought with them a lot, but I was super friendly with them. They talked about how to be, their finances and how they were handling their money. And then I would come home and tell my wife, and we would copy them. Why not copy somebody who is super successful? But I never wanted to own a body shop. Owning a body shop is one type of person. Working at a body shop is another type of person. I'm that type of person. I started there. Well, first of all, I respect the guy so much, the owner, because he started with a Sears toolbox with that auto body kit in it, and became worth tens of millions of dollars. And he earned it, believe me. And he was always ahead of the game. I remember he was the first guy I know to get computers in the shop. He was the first guy to get all these new welders, and he was always ahead of the game. He would read and read and read. And he wasn't some super college educated guy or anything like that. He just had the mind to be a super successful body shop owner. That family, they weren't going to do anything and not be successful at it. That's just the way it is. And being around them for 21 years, you learn that attitude. So I worked for them. I started there. It was a handful of guys. I'm probably a mechanic, a couple of body men, and I was the only guy in the paint shop, and a reconditioner. The manager, who was the brother, and the owner and his wife. It was small, and it was a place he rented. And then he built this place that now is just takes up a whole city block, even across the street. And it's probably one of the top, it is one of the top body shops in Rhode Island. But I worked there my first, they set such a standard that my first 7 years there, I didn't miss 1 minute. Now, I'm in Massachusetts, that's Rhode Island. I was there every day, every storm. There were guys who lived around the corner that didn't come to work due to storms. I was there, the only guy, which would cause trouble. And I just had it in my head that I was gonna show them I was just as good as them as far as a worker. 7 years, didn't miss a minute. And the only reason I missed a minute the first time was I had a truck, Chevy S10, I bought it brand new. It was the first year, and that truck just, what was that, 1995 I think. It was loaded, extra cab, the whole bit, beautiful truck, blue and silver. That truck was a lemon. Not the motor, everything else. Rattles everywhere, drive shaft problems. Oh, it was, that truck was a nightmare, total nightmare. So it was at the dealership. I believe for the 5th time, it had, every time you took a turn, it would go, they never found the problem. I found the problem. It was the suspension. There was a hole in the leaf spring where this bar went in, and the hole was drilled in a different spot on each leaf spring, and that would make that squeak sound. So I don't know what I took the plate out of there, and it quit doing it. But anyways, so I had to go pick up the truck, and the brother, the foreman, he said, have my father bring you to the dealership. And that's how I missed my first minute. But I went 20 years without missing a day. And I mean, I had shingles and every other thing like people get in 20 years. But then I had 2 discs hit my spinal cord, and I was still painting. This arm, my right arm I paint with, was dead. I was actually holding my wrist trying to paint. Finally it went, and I had double neck fusion. So I missed 6 months and went right back for 13 months and didn't miss a day. But that job, I had lost my edge. After being out 6 months, I lost my edge, and I could not work in that tough environment anymore. I got soft. But that place was so hard, and those people were so hard to work for, that they taught me to be successful. Like I said, every day was Monday morning. I remember I was the top guy in the paint shop. Friday afternoons, you would think, most places wind down and clean up. Oh no. Friday afternoon was my biggest paint job of the week, and that was to get a jump on Monday, he would say. But those people are still super successful, and from as miserable as I was working for them at times and coming home so mad and driving home so mad, being around successful people like that who pushed so hard, I learned so much from those people. That's what I was just in the house thinking about it. I was thinking, if I didn't work for those people, if I would have worked for a place where the people were soft and didn't push you and whatnot, I don't know if we would, have owned 3 houses and done what we did. Because I would see they didn't have fear to do things to move forward in their lives, and then I learned the same from them. But that's my video for today. So pay attention to tough people. And even if they make you miserable or stressed out or whatever, try to learn from them, because I sure did. I really, really did. Almost everything I do to this day has something to do with working at that place for 21 years. But have a great day. Dave Gass out.